yet it is littered in water spots.
Everything you wanted to know about water spots and how to get rid of them.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. On this Audi RS Q8 that's black, it's beautiful. It is littered with water spots. And today we wanted to go in depth. We're just going to be focusing on the hood, nothing else. We're going to take our time to really explain water spots because in this industry, water spots are a problem. They always have been, they always will be.
There's a lot to talk about with water spots, but the first thing I want to tell everybody out there is they are not all created equal. So we have water spot remover in our hand. That may work, that may not work for 100% visual difference. I've explained what it is we're going after, but first maybe, how are they even caused, water spots?
Right, so water spots are caused by that big, beautiful bead. We all love beading. Well, that bead harbors minerals, and those minerals, through capillary action, go on the outside of that water bead. From there, as the sun evaporates the water, those minerals have to go somewhere. They don't evaporate away, they go on the surface. When they land on that surface or when they get there, especially on a black vehicle, they get baked in. And those minerals work their way, they etch into the clear. So the water spot remover is here to remove the minerals. It may not remove the water spot itself or the visual appearance of the water spot, but it's removing the mineral. And a lot of detailers will say, all I need to do is polish. Well, this is a prime example. This was polished 4 days ago. It was inside a showroom. It didn't have any water near it whatsoever from the time it was polished to the time we brought it here. Yet, it is littered in water spots. The dealership called us up. They knew of DIY Detail. They're here in Omaha. And they said, what can you do? Well, their techs, as they were instructed, polished it. Temporarily got rid of the water spots. A couple days go by. Oops, here's a water spot. Oop, here's another one, another one. The minerals will always resurface. When you're polishing, all you're doing is driving those minerals down deeper. Now, before I talk more about the water spots, let's get the water spot remover working for us.
So we're spraying water spot remover on clean paint. So we've already washed this vehicle.
Decontaminated as well.
Which, if you're out there, you're wondering what does decontaminate mean? Some people use a clay bar. We specifically have a perforated synthetic decontamination towel. We pair it with our iron remover, and we remove embedded contaminants from the paint that way. We've got more videos about it. We're going to link that in the description below if you're curious. Hey, how do I decontaminate my paint? We wash, we decontaminate, and now we're ready for the water spot remover.
So what we've done, we've applied the water spot remover to the surface, and we're letting it dwell. To help it dwell, we're going to use a rinseless dampened towel, almost dry. We've wrung it out as much as we can, and now we're just going to distribute this and agitate it. And that agitation is going to help pull or pluck those minerals off the surface.
Rinseless dampened towel, what does that mean? It means it's a towel that's been soaking in our bucket of rinseless wash, which is our rinseless wash diluted at 1 ounce of product to 2 gallons of water. 256 to 1 is another way of describing that. This could be your wash bucket. If you used Incredible Suds, our car wash soap, this could also have been soaking in there as well. We typically use rinseless for applications like this, but a car wash soap would be a perfectly fine thing for this rag, this microfiber towel to have been dunked in.
Yeah.
Rinseless is just a great solution for so many things. It happens to be something Ivan knows a lot about as well.
Right. Now, we're keeping the surface damp, and we're doing this for a reason. The longer the water spot remover can work, the better it is. It's happier. It can start eating away at those minerals.
It's also a great thing to mention. Try to do this process out of direct sunlight.
No, don't try. Do it out of direct sunlight.
I always say try, but I know that in the real world, people may only have their garage or their driveway and maybe not have a garage.
Right, but in this case, wait till the evening or do it in early morning.
Yep.
Find a tree to do it under. But you don't want to do this in direct sunlight because we need the water spot remover to have time to do its job.
So dwell time and agitation is our friend here.
Exactly. So you don't want to be flipping the towel because if you flip the towel, you're actually removing the water spot remover from the surface, meaning you don't have enough on there working.
I was flipping without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was muscle memory.
It's normally a good habit to do, but in this case, no.
So I'm going to do a few more sprays. Make sure I'm lightly, no pressure, agitating water spot remover into this paint.
Right. And what we're doing is lifting the minerals off. And you'll notice my side looks a little different than Nick's. Nick didn't wring his towel out quite enough.
It was a little bit more than damp, wasn't it?
Yeah. And if you can see this, it looks cloudy on my side. And that's what we're going for. That cloudiness means I've lifted the minerals off and it's just now starting to dry. So I'm going to rinse it off. First with the towel, just get a little more of it off.
So I wrung my towel out, put a few more sprays of water spot remover on my towel, and now I can actually see under the paint.
Yeah,
I still have water spots.
right.
So we're not done yet, folks. And you may be in this stage too where you're like, I bought your water spot remover. I used it as per the instructions. Well, why are there still water spots?
Well, the water spots are still there for a couple reasons. First of all, the minerals have etched into the paint. That etching is what we're seeing. So we're seeing the scar left behind.
All right, so I think I've officially agitated with no pressure the water spot remover in his paint quite a bit. So after that, you're just suggesting we get this wet with rinseless again?
Yeah, and you'll notice on my side, it looks really cloudy.
See, I know all this stuff, but we were trying to help you guys learn it visually. I'm going to stay on the same page as Ivan here.
So on my side, you'll notice it's very cloudy. The reason it's cloudy is because those minerals have come to the surface. And the water spot remover was starting just on the verge of drying. So I just want to keep rubbing it. I washed the majority of it away with the rinseless wash. Now there's still a little bit clinging onto the surface. We'll get that off, and then we'll be ready for the next step.
So I'm just drying this down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So water spot remover, did it get rid of the water spots? No. Visually, they're still here. But what we have done, which is the very important step that wasn't done before, is we've removed the minerals. Now those minerals are no longer there for us to drive them deeper down into the clear coat. Because clear coat is a plastic, and the minerals attack that plastic. But they also, when they get warm, they actually etch into the plastic, and that's what we have here. But now that we've removed them, we're safe to polish.
Wow, you can just see them littering the hood.
Right. If for some reason your water spot remover actually did dry on the surface, don't panic. Just re-wet it with more water spot remover, it'll re-liquefy it, and off it goes. Next, we're going to be polishing. Now, we're starting with our Gold Standard waffle pad. We're going to be cleaning our pads first, making sure they're nice and damp. You don't want a wet pad, but you want one that's just lightly dampened. We're going to be applying one spray of our polish. Now we're going to be working in small sections. This is a test spot for us to see what we're actually going to be doing. So we'll do a small section, wipe it off, and then we'll know whether it's our proper course of action or if we need to step up to our wool pad.
Just for redundancy.
Exactly.
Slightly damp pad, one spray of the Gold Standard polish, speed 3 on the machine, no pressure.
Yeah. can see as I move around the light here, the end of my finger, that scar that's there. Now that scar is actually very deep into the paint. So unfortunately, there's not much we can do. Now we can try it with the wool pad to see if we can get that off, but you can see how deep that scar is. So it's a very, very interesting phenomenon. And we can actually see it through the polish. So we can see it through the polish residue. Outside in the sun, you'd probably never see that. But because of these lights, the way they are, we can see this type of mark. Let's take a look, see what we've done. We're using a damp towel with rinseless on it to remove the polish residue. Then we'll finish off with a dry towel. Now that deep scar that I could see through the polish residue, I can still barely see it this way. The polish residue was actually accentuating it. So how's it looking on your side, Nick?
There are a few etched water spots. Most of them are gone. It's a much glossier section. So I see dots of water spots here. I have no idea if you can see them in the camera. So you can see under my finger some water spots here. And if we go this way, we'll meander over. Most of them are gone. 95% of the etchings are gone.
Right.
You could go a little more aggressive with a wool pad, for example. The thing that I wouldn't recommend to the average DIYer out there is to take sandpaper to their paint, but it may get that drastic. If you don't see a water spot being removed, you're wondering why, you're not satisfied with our answers, you can remove clear coat by sanding down your paint. And that could remove the scarring, but I would not recommend it unless you are just dead set on perfect paint. Because guess what? A black horizontal panel, you're likely going to get water spots again.
Right, and we only have 120 microns on this hood, 118 there.
That's it on brand new paint.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's not a lot there, meaning that it's not really safe to be polishing on this, going after it with a wool pad and all of that. Now, have we dramatically improved it? Yes. Most people will not see those defects. As detailers, we see them. We can polish just a little more, maybe give it a second pass with the foam pad, see what that does, or give one light pass with the wool pad, then come back with the foam. But we're not gonna sit there and try to remove everything, because once we do that, we've actually weakened the paint. There's a crust that forms on the paint, and that crust that forms is only about 5 to 10 microns deep. If we remove that crust, this paint becomes butter soft. And when it becomes butter soft, watermarks are gonna etch in even faster and even deeper. Nick, I'm just gonna do another very small spot with the wool, just to see if one quick pass with the wool makes a vast improvement. If it does, then we can adopt that technique. If it doesn't, we're just gonna leave it be.
Sounds good.
Put the wool pad there as a marker. So what I did was one section just with the wool, one section with the foam and wool, and then a final section just with the foam. And we'll see if doing two passes is worth the effort or if it's not.
It's just worth noting that our yellow pad with the gold standard is leaving phenomenally glossy paint, by the way.
Yeah.
Water spots aside, this is an amazing combo for a one-step polish.
So where I did the wool, significantly better. I don't know if we can pick it up on camera, but I have zero scarring left. So that one little pass with the wool on the upper surfaces of the vehicle, like the hood, might be worth the effort.
So you think we go wool, quick pass, horizontal surface, and then go back to foam?
Right. On the sides, there's not a lot of water spots. Just from here up, so from this body line up, we have water spots. So everything that, the water goes down. The sides, they're fine. So, but if we polish the hood and just the upper surfaces, there'll be a line of shiny paint and dull paint. So we need to polish the whole thing. We'll do the wool just on the upper surfaces and then the foam everywhere else.
Sounds good.
Now, of note with the wool pad, you'll notice here that I did passes with the wool pad and same with Nick, and we have almost no residue left on the paint. At that point, you know that once you've eliminated that residue, you know that you're polishing just to hear the machine. So it's time to clean your pad, add more polish. Because the wool pad is a very aggressive pad, it is, for lack of a better term, spending the polish or wearing it away. And at that point, we're not doing anything, we're just making noise. So once you start doing a pass and it starts clearing up, stop, you're done.
It's worth noting that with our yellow waffle pad, you can work this thing forever.
Right.
And it stays oily on the surface. But when you stop seeing your pad residue and the half circles and everything, that's when it's like, I can do this longer, but it's probably not going to do anything, and it's not going to be safe if I run out of polish.
No, exactly.
So it's time to re-clean, as Ivan said. Yep.
Now the paint is already looking super glossy just with the wool pad, but a pass with the foam pad is just going to refine it just a little bit more, give us more gloss, more depth, and it's the last chance to get maybe one of those scars out as well.
Absolutely.
As Nick mentioned, much longer working time with the foam pad. And the reason that is happening is, first of all, the wool pad is removing clear coat and it's clogging that pad. When it clogs the pad, that's when the pad starts wiping off the polish instead of working with the polish. Whereas this is removing a lot less material, so we have more time to work with the polish. And a clean pad is a happy pad.
What are you seeing, Ivan?
It is beautiful. Now, there's still the odd, very, very small scar, but I really have to look at it. And if I have to look at it, that means that the normal person will never see it.
You have a bit of a trained eye, I'd say.
Slightly. And I'm looking at the surface of the paint, whereas most people are looking at the reflection on the paint. And it's very difficult to do. That's why we can't, unfortunately, capture it on camera. It's very difficult to do so. Because the camera, an example in this room, it always focuses on the light on the ceiling, not at the surface of the paint, and it's very hard to get that.
I don't see one water spot.
No, like I said, there's just one or two in this section, sorry. I found 3 so far. But I have to look for them, and I have to basically unfocus my eyes, which is really weird to say that, but you're focusing, or you're trying to get the reflection on the surface of the paint and not looking into the paint like most people do. So at this point, I'm very satisfied with what we've done.
Wow.
We haven't taken off a lot of clear. So we're still at 130 microns, 128. So we basically have not taken off too much clear. But we can still improve this. We're going to add protection. We're going to add ceramic gloss. That being said, how do you protect yourself from water spots going forward? Do not park under a sprinkler, number 1. Don't just hose off your car and think it's good. You need to wash your car, a proper contact wash. Just hosing it off and let the air dry it, you're going to get water spots. If you go to a car wash As you're driving away, they have all those lanes with the vacuum cleaners. Take a minute, vacuum out your interior. They're normally free. And then take a nice plush microfiber towel, a bit of ceramic gloss, and go after those drip lines. Go after those areas that are dripping, normally these. From there, if you're prone to water spots, meaning you have no choice but to park beside a sprinkler system, you have no choice, you're in an industrial area with lots of heavy fallout, because rain by itself will not cause water spots. Rain can sit on there, dry, sit on there, dry. It's not going to do anything. Rain typically doesn't have minerals in it or has a very, very low mineral content. If you're susceptible to water spots, put a wax on your car. Have a ceramic coating there as the base layer for the chemical protection, for the protection against bugs, for all that. But get a good quality, non-abrasive paste wax or liquid wax and put it on. Wax is a natural compound. And what happens with wax is it fractures, it breaks down. And as it breaks down, wax goes away. That's why you need to reapply wax every 2 or 3 months. Wax is not a long-term thing. But as it's releasing itself from the surface and breaking down, the minerals, instead of attaching themselves to the paint or the ceramic coating below it, are actually just staying in that wax, and as the wax goes away, so are the minerals. So that's one of the strategies to reduce that. Of course, the best is don't get them again. But if you have no choice, you need to wax your car once every month or 2 months at the most. And from there, the water spots won't permanently etch your clear coat like we have here.
That's amazing advice, Ivan.
So Nick, we've done a great job. We have amazing gloss. We haven't removed a significant amount of clear coat. We haven't damaged the paint worse than it was before. So now we just need to finish the rest of the vehicle.
This is rewarding.
It is.
It's good to know we didn't remove clear coat and we got results. And so hopefully by us going through the steps, you'll begin to think in a critical way so that you can meet the moment as a DIYer, as a part-timer, as a pro. This is DIY Detail. This is what it is all about. And if you want to learn more about how to polish paint, we have a playlist here. We would love for you to go check it out. We'll see you there.